Sisters from Walsh Jesuit High School, and this section is on the product of two binomials, which is also known as FOIL. Now, when you think of FOIL, it's probably something that you think you wrap your leftovers in or something from the night before for dinner. But in this case, you actually can apply it to mathematics, and I'm going to show you how right away. So, we're going to be multiplying two polynomials. So we have x plus 7 times x plus 2. Now you're probably thinking, where in the world does FOIL come in? But F-O-I-L. F stands for first, O is outside, I is inside, and L is last. Okay, now when I'm talking about that, when I say first, that means that I want to take my x's because they are first within those parentheses. So you want to multiply these. X times x gives me x squared. Now, my outsides are my x and my 2 because they are on the outside of those parentheses. So we've got x times 2, which is plus 2x. Then, inside would be these inside terms, which is 7 and x. So let's multiply those guys. So we have 7x, and it would be plus 7x. And then last, for my last term, I'm going to pick the last ones in those parentheses, which would be 7 times 2, which would give me a plus 14. So all you need to do is combine your like terms, which are the middle terms. So you're going to have x squared plus 2x plus 7x gives me 9x, then plus 14. Now, this is my final answer because I cannot combine x squared and 9x together because they have different exponents, so they are unlike terms. This is my final answer. All right, let's try another one. So in this case, we've got 4x minus 3 times 2x plus 1. Now, again, we want to use FOIL. So we have F-O-I-L. So F would be our first. So 4x times 2x. 4 times 2 gives me 8. X times x gives me x squared. Now I have my outsides, which would be my 4x and my 1. So 4x times 1 just gives me plus 4x. Now my insides are going to be this negative 3 and 2x. Make sure you bring this negative with it. That's very, very important. So negative 3 times 2x gives me a negative 6x. Then finally, our last terms would be this negative 3 and this positive 1, which would give me a minus 3. Now with those, just combine your like terms, which are the 2 in the middle. So you drop down your 8x squared. 4x minus 6x gives me negative 2x, then minus 3. 8x squared minus 2x minus 3 is my final answer. Let's try another one. Now we've got x minus 4 quantity squared. Now I want you to think about it. If you have x squared like this, another way that you can write it is x times x. So if you have x cubed, that would be 3 of them. X times x times x. Now in this case, if we have x minus 4, the whole quantity squared, that means all we need to do is just write it twice, just like how we wrote this x twice. So you have really x minus 4 times the quantity of x minus 4. Then because we're multiplying these and you see there are two binomials right here, you want to use FOIL. So we have F-O-I-L. Our first, again, is x times x, which gives me x squared. My outsides are x and negative 4. So x times negative 4 gives me negative 4x. Then next I have my inside, which is negative 4 and x. So that gives me, again, minus 4x. Now my last, I have negative 4 times negative 4. Be careful of those negative signs. Negative 4 times negative 4 gives me a positive 16. Then from there, combine your like terms, which again are the two middle ones. So you have x squared minus 8x plus 16, which there is my final answer. All right, I've got one more example for you, and it's going to look a little bit different than the ones that we were doing before. Now, if you notice, all the ones that we have been doing before with the examples, we have a binomial times a binomial. But now we have a binomial times a trinomial. You cannot use FOIL in this case because you can only use FOIL when you have a binomial times a binomial. 2 terms by 2 terms. We have 2 terms by 3 terms. So in this case, instead, what I want you to think about is you need to multiply this x by everything in the one behind it, and this 4 by everything single one behind it. You want to distribute. So let's try it. X times x squared gives me x cubed. X times negative 3x gives me negative 3x squared. X times 8 gives me a positive 8x. All right, now I want to try the next one. So we're going to do 4 times x squared. Now instead of writing this whole big long string, what I want you to do is line it up right underneath. 4 times x squared gives me 4x squared. Line it up with your x squared, so we have a positive 4x squared. 4 times negative 3x gives me negative 12x. Line it up under your 8x, so minus 12x. Then 4 times positive 8 gives me a positive 32. Now all you have to do is just add down. It's a lot easier than trying to collect all those like terms that are in a really, really long line. So add down. We get x cubed. Negative 3x squared plus 4x squared just gives me a plus 1x squared, or just x squared. Then I have 8x minus 12x gives me a negative 4x. Then finally you just drop down your 32, and that is my final answer. X cubed plus x squared minus 4x plus 32. And you can't combine anything else because none of them are like terms. Alright, if you have any questions, please stop in the math office, or you can email me at kesterse@walshjesuit.org. I'll see you in class.